Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed.
Skipper some table manners, or Granny ain't gonna let him eat in her kitchen.
I'd a heap rather have him eating in my kitchen than that big, overgrown, lazy, good-for-nothing Lafe crick.
Now, Granny, don't start on Lafe again. He's gone. He's on his way back to the hill.
He don't live in the hills. He lives in the gully. And it's his kind that give the hill people a bad name.
He's on his way back to the gully and his daughter with him. Now, let's forget him.
Granny, don't get yourself all angered up.
Who's angered up?
You are, because that Lafe crick tried to get you to marry his daughter. Ain't that right?
Shucks, no. They's both going back home.
I'm the only one that has the gumption to hold a grudge. It's a sorry thing when a poor old stove-up, wore-out, gray-haired old granny has to do all the grudge-holding in the family.
Well, leave go of it, Granny. Lafe is gone, and you can't start a fire without you got two sticks to rub together.
You calling me a stick?
Start in on me. Here. Have some of this scalding hot coffee. It'll cool you down.
Here we are, Mr. Crick.
Ma'am, I just don't know how to thank you. A fine, beautiful young city girl like you giving a poor old hound dog like me a ride in your beautiful automobile?
Nonsense, Mr. Crick. The moment you told me that you were Mr. Clappett's nearest and dearest friend...
Like that, Jed and me. Two peas in a pod. Always was.
I'd be so happy that you're staying over.
Missing my own daughter's wedding to do it. But I says to myself, I says, Lafe, I says, if you can pleasure Jed and Granny and them young'uns even that itty-bitty bit by staying over here like they begged you to, you just gotta forget your own pleasure.
Just like Mr. Clappett, always thinking of others.
Like that, Jed and me. Two birds and a mule's tail. Always was.
I wish I could stay and see this joyous reunion between two old friends, but I must be getting back to the bank.
Yeah. You take good care of old Jed's money, you hear? You keep a tight hold on it now.
Don't you worry, it's safe.
That's comforting to know.
It's comforting to know that Mr. Clappett has friends like you. I hope you can stay for a while.
I'm going to try my best. You got my word.
Skipper and me'll be back to help you with the dishes,
Help
Granny.
me with the dishes, and that's what you get when you deal with those gully people. Lafe crick, S.E. Bell. I'll tell you, I've seen some things. That's the way it is. I never won actually trash.
What you got there, Skipper? Mr. Crick.
You speak to me, boy.
That was Lady's boat, Mr. Crick.
Hi there, Ellie. I get to my feet, honey, only I'm so tired from walking all the way up here.
Well, I thought you went back home for Isabel's wedding.
Oh, Ellie, darling, promise me you never gonna treat your pa the way that girl treated me.
What did she do?
Went away and left me stranded, without no car, no money, no food, all sick and starving.
We got plenty of food, and Granny will doctor you back to health.
No, honey. I don't want to burden nobody, but I would like to see your pa's face just one more time before I pass on to my reward. Now, maybe if you was to help me, I could get to my feet and make my way to the table. I mean, to wherever your pa is.
Well, he's in the kitchen.
Good. Good.
I am cooking grits and jowls, Billy boy, Billy boy. I am cooking grits and jowls, charming Billy. And my victuals will be safe now that Ree is rid of Lafe. He's a good-for-nothing, low-down, lazy varmint.
Hello, dear sweet little old granny.
He's back and drunk to boot.
What's the matter, Granny?
It's Lafe Crick. That good-for-nothing, low-down, lazy, victual-stealing, liquor-drinking, gully jumper.
Granny, I thought you'd blowed off all that steam.
I did, but he's back and I'm commencing to boil again.
Lafe is back?
Yes, but not for long. Give me that axe.
Now, Granny.
Dear old friend, I didn't have it in mind to bother you none, but Ellie Mae found me and forced me to come in and have some victuals to help me get my strength back.
Well, you're always welcome at our table, Lafe.
Oh, no. I ain't looking for no handout. Lafe Crick ain't one to be asking for charity. No, sirree. Lafe Crick wants to work for what he gets.
I didn't know there was two Lafe Cricks.
Well, ain't no call for you to work, Lafe, but if it make you feel any better, here's the axe. You can help Jethro yonder cut some wood.
I'd be glad to. I'd be proud to do it, but I think first I'll change into my work clothes. I wouldn't want to get my Sunday go-to-meeting suit all mussed up.
That ain't a bad hour's work, Jethro.
I'll say it ain't. Can we stop for victuals now, Uncle Jed?
Quick as Lafe gets through eating, Granny's feeding him first.
Well, I thought Granny didn't like him.
Well, it ain't that. It's just that it's dangerous for other folks to sit at a small table with Lafe when he's eating.
Does swing his knife and fork around right lively.
Like a snare drummer at a Possum Day parade.
I'm going, Granny. I'm going, Granny. My poor old crippled knee will let me.
What crippled your knee?
Well, the rheumatiz, Granny. Now, if you was to give me a little bit of your rheumatiz, I'm going.
Move on.
Well, Lafe, you ready to go to work, are you?
Can't hardly wait to sail into it, Jed. Got my working clothes on now.
You notice the only place his working clothes is patched, don't you?
Now, Granny. Maybe he's turned over a new leaf.
Not unless there's food under it.
What you got in the pan?
Nothing. I was using it to dip grits and jowls for Lafe. I couldn't keep ahead of him with a spoon.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that one man could work like that.
This one can. He's another Jed Clampett.
Howdy, Miss Hathaway, ma'am. I'm afraid you caught me resting a bit.
Well, you deserve to rest. Why, from my place, it sounded like there were 3 or 4 men over here, sawing, chopping, splitting logs.
Well, that's just the way I work, sir.
Oh, Mr. Crick, permit me to introduce Mr. Clampett's next-door neighbor and the president of our bank, Mr. Drysdale.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Crick.
I ain't good enough to shake the hand of no bank president, sir.
Now, don't be ridiculous. I'd be honored to shake your hand.
It's all rough and full of calluses from working every day from sunup to sundown.
By George. You and Jed Clampett are certainly cast from the same mold.
Is that like this, Mr. Drysdale?
2 peas in a pod.
2 bears and a mule's tail. Well, if you gentlemen will excuse me, I'll run along and say hello to Jethro.
Sit down, man. You must be exhausted.
Shucks no, Mr. Banker. Way I work, I could go on like this for days. Of course, it is beginning to catch up with me a mite. I ain't a young fella like you.
Oh, I'm not so young.
Well, according to Jed, you are. His exact words to me, he says, now, you be sure and speak to young Mr. Drysdale about that job.
Job?
Doggone it, I wasn't going to let that slip out. I was bound and determined not to. Well, you just forget it, Mr. Banker. It's Jed's idea, not mine.
No, tell me all about it. Any idea of Jed Clampett's? I want to hear.
Well, Jed, he had this notion that you could hire me to watch his money for him down to your bank.
Oh, you mean like a guard or a night watchman?
Night watchman. That sounds like it.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Having Lafe Crick around will lead to nothing but trouble.
You're right, Granny.
That's a fact.
Yes, ma'am.
I know the Cricks better than any of you. I knew his paw and his paw before him. And the three of them put together ain't worth the powder it would take to blow them up.
You're right, Granny.
That's a fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Lafe Crick is all talk. And a tongue bigger than a hay wagon. Why, he'd mealy mouth you out of your eye teeth and sell 'em back to you.
You're right, Granny.
That's a fact.
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to Lafe Crick, I know what I'm talking about. And it won't do any good to argue with me.
You're right. Let's all quit arguing with Granny so as we can eat.
How can I dish the victuals if you don't hold your plates up?
You're right.
That's a fact.
Yes, ma'am.
There you are. I've just left your friend Lafe Crick. What a hard-working, industrious, wonderful man he is.
What did you say?
Then it's settled. If Jed Clampett wants you as a night watchman at my bank, a night watchman you are.
If you put it that way, I'm afraid I can't take the job.
Oh, why not?
Well, it makes me feel like I'd treat a possum with Jed's hound.
Oh, of course, I see your point. You don't want to feel, what's the word, beholden to Jed, eh?
That's right, Mr. Drysdale. I'm a poor man. I'm as rough as a cob and plain as dirt, but I got my pride.
You are like Mr. Clampett.
Like that, Jed and me. Two berries on a bush, all as was.
All right. I'll say it was my idea to hire you. Now, when do you want to start to work?
How about tonight?
Can you get some rest?
Rest? What's that?
Mr. Crick, men like you are few and far between.
Thank you, boss.
I tell you, Granny, the man is a veritable one-man sawmill. Cutting, chopping, splitting logs.
You see, Granny, old Lafe has changed.
Well, if he has, I'm going to jump in that pond with all of my clothes on.
In a bank, at night, with a gun and $40 million. Yahoo! Yahoo!
See, Granny? I told you so.
Yahoo!
I dog you, Granny, she was right. Granny. Granny always was a woman of her word. Want me to fetch you a jug of rheumatism medicine?
Oh, never mind. I can't believe it. I seen it, but I can't believe it. Lafe Crick swinging an axe, splitting wood.
You ain't heard the best part, Granny. Old Lafe done got himself a job.
A job. Lafe Crick.
That's right.
I've changed my mind. Fetch my jug.
Yes, sir. Old Lafe's going to work down at Mr. Drysdale's bank.
The bank where you got your money?
That's right.
Jed, turning a rascal loose like that in a bank is like putting a hungry fox in a hen house.
Give the man a chance, Granny. Maybe it's a good thing for Lafe to learn a trade. At least now folks will know what kind of work he's out of. Good. Want me to fetch your drinking thimble?
No. This calls for a cool head and warm feet.
All ready to go, Mr. Crick.
I sure do appreciate you carrying me to the bank, boy.
Glad to do it. If I stayed here, I'd have to dig a hole under the alum tree for Granny. And that there's hard work. I mean, W-O-R-K. Granny told me never to say that word around you. Get you to cussing.
You shouldn't do work like digging a hole. Fine, handsome boy like you.
Shucks, it's no harder than cutting wood or plowing or clearing stumps.
You ought to get yourself married, son. Then you wouldn't have to do woman's work.
Yeah.
Make yourself comfortable, Mr. Crick. Mr. Drysdale will be right back.
Thank you, ma'am. My, this must be the finest, most beautiful office in all the world.
Oh, I'd hardly say that.
Well, I reckon it must be you, ma'am. Pretty girl always makes a room pretty.
Mr. Crick, you devil.
Oh, this is where you keep old Jed's money, is it?
Yes, the Commerce Bank is very proud to be the guardian of the fortune belonging to your nearest and dearest friend.
Like that, Jed and me. 2 drips of dew, all as was.
Well, make yourself at home. I'll just have a few words with Jethro.
Oh, fine boy, Jethro. Looking for a wife. You and him would make a mighty handsome couple. Well, blue blazes, do they keep kids' money?
Good to see you, Jethro. Mr. Crick, what are you doing?
Giving thanks, Mr. Drysdale, sir. Just giving thanks for a fine, generous, upstanding young man like yourself letting a poor old razorback like me work in his fine bank looking after the money of his nearest and dearest friend.
Lafe, Crick, you're a good man. Jed Clampett is wealthy in more ways than one.
He is?
Yes. A friend like you is worth more than $1 million.
Oh, I do hope to be, sir. I do hope to be.
Where is that no-account, overgrown, big, lazy...
Granny, I told you Lafe has got a job.
I'm talking about Jethro. He promised to commence to dig me a root cellar.
Well, Jethro is taking Lafe to work. I'm going to start the root cellar for you.
One bad apple will spoil the barrel. You mark my words. That Lafe is going to turn those young'uns into a no-account like yourself.
Granny, Skipper and me's ready to help dig your root cellar. Ain't we, Skipper? Come on, Skip, let's go.
Don't look like them two a spoiled man.
Give him time.
Lafe ain't going to be around to do much spoiling. I bet you Mr. Drysdale's got him working to beat the band right now.
I didn't singe your whiskers, did I?
No, not a bit. First time I ever tied into one of these. Is it all for me, or do I give you half?
No, I don't smoke them. Mr. Crick, would you like me to send for my barber?
Oh, no. I can smoke it by myself.
No, I thought you might want a shave and a haircut. My barber would be happy to come over here to my office and give you one.
You mean right while I'm a-setting here?
All I have to do is call him.
That sure is handy.
Yes, isn't it?
I'll just keep that in mind if I ever should need a shave and a haircut. Well, right now, I'm anxious to get to work. That's the kind of a man I am. I'm not much of a one for sitting around.
Good.
What I have in mind for night watching old Jed's money is if you was to put it into some gunny sacks, I'd set on them sacks with my shotgun across my lap. Now, then you wouldn't have to worry at all. You could just go off someplace and sleep like a baby.
Mr. Crick, I'm afraid you have a slight misconception about the way we guard our money here at the bank. In the first place, Mr. Clampett's fortune isn't actually here.
It ain't.
No, most of it ain't. Isn't. And the money we do keep here is locked in a massive steel vault which cannot possibly be opened at night.
That kind of worries me, old Jed and me being like that.
Well, you can stop worrying. And Mr. Clampett knows his money is perfectly safe, and he knows he can get all he wants anytime he wants it.
And is all that, huh?
He doesn't even have to leave his house.
Well, my, that is handy. Oh, my, look at all that daylight out there. Why, I've got time to chop old Jed another cord of wood or two before sundown.
You, sir, are the hardest working man I have ever seen.
Habit of a lifetime, sir. Jethro, you out there?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Crick. Jethro thought you were staying here. He's gone home.
Oh, well, it's only 5 or 6 miles to old Jed's place. I guess I'll just run it. Good for my rheumatiz.
Oh, Mr. Crick, wait just a minute. Chief, may I drive him home?
Of course. Fantastic man. A human dynamo.
Yes, it was quite amusing. When the Clampetts first arrived, Granny insisted the entire fortune be changed into silver so it could be buried in the backyard.
What did you say?
Buried in the backyard?
I sure do thank you. You've been a great help to me. I'll be seeing you.
What a bundle of energy. A fine example for Jethro.
There you are, Jethro. Now get out there and commence digging your granny's root cellar.
But, Uncle Jed, Mr. Crick says I ain't supposed to do women's work.
See what I told you? The bad apple is commencing to spoil the barrel.
Jethro, you don't listen to what Mr. Crick tells you. You do what I tell you. Now get on out there. I'll join you in a minute with the shovel.
Yes, sir.
Here comes the wormy wine sack now. I'm gonna press my shotgun.
Yes, Bill. Stop you, Granny.
Yes, sir.
But what you fixing to do, Jed?
I was fixing to do a little digging out back yonder.
Well, I'll do it for you.
You could help if you're a mite.
No, I want to do it all myself.
I stopped her, Uncle Jed. Well, let's commence the digging under that big old elm out there.
Doggone it, Jethro. I want to do all the digging around here.
Lafe, the kind of digging that Granny wants done would take one man all night.
Well, hard work never hurt nobody. I'll see you in the morning.
It's a miracle. A plumb miracle.
I said it last night, and I'll say it again this morning. If that Lafe Crick has dug me a root cellar, I'll jump back into the cement pond with an anvil in my arms.
I wouldn't say too much, Granny. Lafe's been right full of surprises lately.
He's nothing but...
Seen enough, Granny?
Yep. Fetch the anvil.
We ain't got an anvil.
I was counting on that. Get some coffee.
That's deep enough, Lafe. Veer a little to the right.
Thank you, Jed!
This has been a Filmways presentation.